Hello, beer tubers, and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppets. Today, joined by Tom, aka
A Doom Lord of Yeast.
Yes, and we're reviewing some more beer, which is what we do on this channel. We're reviewing some more American beer, some big old stout from Welt Works. And Tom's had one Welt Works beer prior to this, which was the Port Medianoche,
Yes.
which was really good, but I think a bourbon barrel suits the base beer better. But this is a totally different beer. This is part of the Achromatic series, and this is their coffee and maple syrup Achromatic Imperial Stout. So this is an 11.6% Imperial Stout. The beer is boiled for 6 hours. Medium notch is boiled for 36, so not as crazily, but 6 hours. I still think that's a very long boil. And this one is then conditioned on maple syrup, and the maple syrup addition comes throughout different parts of the process. They don't say when, but it's probably both in the tank and maybe it's in kettle. I don't know. They just have different steps of adding maple syrup to give lots of maple syrup flavoring. And lastly, it's conditioned on single origin coffee from Villarrica in Peru, and I think the company was called Soy's 4 Roast Blend. Or Soy's, maybe. Yes, something like that. Soy's. It's at least called Soy's 4 Roast Blend. The coffee. So, yeah. Big old, I guess, breakfast stout. Maple stout. Pastry stout. It can be whatever.
It's black.
It is. It is pitch black in the glass. It's not as... So you can see hues of light on the side of the glass. And that can signify that there's a lot of maple syrup in it.
Almost a white Imperial, isn't it?
No. No, it's dense and black, but compared to their other stouts, what I've found with a lot of...
The color is a medium brown. It's not
Yes.
that extremely roasty.
But one thing I've noticed, and I can smell so much maple syrup from here, is like with these beers with loads of maple syrup, you dilute the color a little bit when they use so much. Like, I really don't want to know the calories in a beer like this. Because from here, I'm smelling
I don't think you have to worry.
No, I know, but still, you don't want to think like this. If you were on a diet, like, I'd imagine this would be crazy. Just, we'll see. I mean, if it tastes a lot like maple syrup and they add it constantly throughout the process. But, it looks very nice. It looks like a nice big stout. Do you want to check out the aroma?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Jesus! There is so much maple syrup. Holy shit. But also loads of, like, fresh coffee.
Coffee.
Loads of
bourbon
coffee.
barrel.
It's not barrel aged.
It's not.
Nope.
It's just.
But I think it's the fudginess of maple.
It's just
and the woodiness of it.
The impression I get.
Yeah. There's also vanilla. But there's so much maple. It's like this intense, just like sweet.
It's also a matter of the
crazy maple aroma.
Maple syrup. If the maple syrup was barrel aged, for example.
Yeah, but and also, maple syrup comes from wood. But a big part of it as well with this is like it smells. Oh, you already tasted it. You cheated. I didn't taste it. I better taste it.
I'm sorry. I don't say anything.
Nope. You just drank. Cheers. Wow. That's a lot of maple syrup. That's a ton of maple syrup. And coffee. It's like I don't think I've had a maple stout that's been this maple forward in a while. I think the last one I had that was this level of maple was probably Breakford Moose by Tripping Animals and Barreled Souls. Like, it's almost like drinking stout with just like loads of maple dunked in.
It reminds me of a bit of an espresso.
Yes, espresso.
Sweetened with maple syrup.
Yeah. Because there's loads of coffee flavor too. But it's not crazy thick, actually. And I also think, I don't know, it's also
kind of a sugary body.
Mm-hmm.
It has. Possibly because of the maple syrup.
I think so. It's also got some interesting fruitiness. Like a little bit of a fruity, yeasty thing. Almost like plummy, syrupy, plum syrup, blueberry syrup, something like that. Like a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think there's not like big roasted malt. There is some like slight chocolate malt vibe going on. I'm definitely getting a little bit of a slightly coconut chocolatey vibe underneath. Lots of caramel too, but you know, I think the maple just helped understate that.
The vanilla is also really strong again,
Mm-hmm.
and I really get that.
But there's also no vanilla in it, so that must be from
Yeah.
the maple.
But it's really from the maple, and I don't know, maybe it was a really good maple syrup they used,
Yeah.
because I get that fake bourbon barrel taste.
Yeah,
It's
or
not
not fake, but it's
fake
yeah.
in any way, but it's like it's not barrel aged, but it's got that impression.
Yeah.
I mean, we had that Belgian beer today,
But
and
it's
maybe that did not seem too much barrel aged. So this already seems more barrel aged to me than the Black Dalmatian.
yeah, and it doesn't have that like fenugreek fake maple flavor. There is like it. You know what fenugreek is? It's often used in curries in India. Mikkeller made a maple beer with loads of fenugreek in it, and they used too much, so it ended up just tasting like curry. It was actually not that great. It's called Beer Geek Waffle Shake, I think. And this has maybe a smidge of it, but I'm not sure if it's flavoring or it's because it also really tastes like loads of sweet maple. It tastes like they dunked in a lot of maple in this. Like the sugar content in this is quite high, I think.
It's not the malt
No.
sweetness or body that is remaining here. It's maple syrup.
But that's what
But-
they went for.
Possibly also, I don't know when they, just as you said, when they added, but if they added it at the end or later stages of fermentation, that also explains why there's so much taste
Yeah.
left in the beer and not blown out.
Yeah. I think the biggest beef for me with this one is that I don't think the base beer gets to shine really. I think it's there's so much maple that I'm not tasting much of base beer. I still think it's really tasty. I really love the coffee flavor. It's kind of like mocha-like, or yeah, even slightly espresso-like. Like as you said, like a maple flavored espresso. There's loads of brilliant coffee flavor. It's almost like you had like a mix of cold brew with maple syrup and stout. Actually, I think that's a very good analogy.
That's
Something like that.
Good comparison.
But in terms of other like Welt Works stouts, they often have a lot more base flavor, lots more beef. Like even just the last non-barrel aged pastry stout I had from them, which was a banana one, which is usually something I'm not too keen on. I think that had a bit more substantial base than this. But I still think it's nice. It's definitely a nice coffee maple stout, and if you are a fan of huge maple flavors, you're gonna totally love this because this is just like maple town galore. So much maple syrup and coffee, but again, also a bit more fruitiness than often in stouts.
Do you think it's from the east or any?
It could be. It could also be maple syrup.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup, depending on what kind of maple syrup you use, it has different flavor and what grade it is and all that. Because it does have some fruitiness.
Like a fruitiness that reminds me of the one you find in honey sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it could be the maple then. Maybe. I don't know. They're got a touch more of a roasty malt character, but it's crazy amounts of maple. I think, it's just a touch too much on the maple sweet side for me, so like I still think it's pretty damn it's an awesome pastry stout if you love these kind of beers, but I think like a 92 for me, like something like that. Like I think it's just a touch too much maple. I love the coffee character, but with a little less maple, I would have been more excited about it, I think. But, a lot of people want it like this. Just like onrush of crazy, intense maple or whatever adjunct flavor.
I agree. Maybe they could have fermented a little bit higher. With the
Yeah,
same
but
maple.
I also think it might be
A
because I stored it
pastry-
in the bottle. Like
It's
when
a
I
pastry issue. I mean, I don't like them too sweet.
But yeah, if you guys had a chance to try, what do you think grade wise? Around the same territory?
I would agree.
Because it's still
there
really
is
good.
some space left to the top,
Yeah.
but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this one, and I also appreciate that it. A bit surprising thing that it almost tastes barrel aged, although it's not.
Yeah. But I know that must be the maple syrup. So if you guys had a chance to try coffee maple achromatic from Welt Works, let us know what you thought of it. Very, maple forward stuff. So if you're into maple beers, this is something for you. And yeah, if you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you thought of it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe to the Facebook fan page, and Twitter, and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And we're going to say cheers.
Cheers.
And see you guys in another beer review.